Scotch?
Hmm?
Oh, sorry.
Everybody be
I
here.
rely.
Oh, we're recording.
I haven't heard from Jonathan or Daphne, so we'll start on time, and if they get here, that'd be good. Sounds good. I learned one thing from the former mayor: always start with Verizon time, and I have 6 o'clock. So, I'd like to call this special meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Council, the purpose of this meeting is for the budget presentation. On the agenda, you'll see item 5, new business. We will not be taking up the jail budget piece, as this is only for budget presentation. Okay? That was a technical error on my part, and we will commence forward. So, that being said, could I get a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Old business is budget presentation, which is the purpose of this meeting. So I don't think this will be a very lengthy meeting. Joseph has been working with Ann Missy with building the presentation based on the budget from our last work session. There's a couple minor changes that Joseph will hit, but I think it'll go well, and if you have questions, we'll hit them up with them. Okay? JQ, it's all yours.
Great, thank you, everyone. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It's budget time, and we've worked pretty diligently with, had a work session, and council got together, and staff, and I think we've come up with a really good budget for 2026, and I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. Table of contents: why does the town have a budget? What does the town fund? That should be FY26, sorry about that. Proposed budget overview, projects both proposed and ongoing, then just discussing core objectives, continued strength, budget process, budget at a glance, trends, forecasts, and those sorts of items. So again, under State Code 15.2-2503, sort of discusses time for preparing for and approving a budget. Like the state, localities, you have to have a balanced budget, and you are required to schedule public hearing at least 14 days in advance of the adoption of a budget, so we'll be well within that time frame. What does the town fund? So towns, Virginia has an interesting case where we're the only state in the union where we have independent cities. So we have independent cities, counties, and towns. And so towns are sort of like an overlay on the county. And so what we fund the police department, wastewater, solid waste collection, water, facilities management, admin, economic development, tourism, parks and rec, revitalization efforts, charities, organizations, and whatever else it may fall in between. Some of the little photos that go along with that narrative. FY 2026 proposed budget totals $5,519,015. This reflects the general fund as well as enterprise funds, which are water and wastewater. This is a decrease from last year's budget, largely reflecting the completion of the ARPA-funded projects, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, that was for infrastructure improvements. No general fund tax increases are being proposed. However, increases in enterprise fund fees are being proposed to cover rising operational costs, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Most Warsaw tax rates and fees will continue to remain lower than neighboring localities. We'll also, we have a community analysis where we put together towns within our same size or geographic location and discuss their fees and tax rates. Ongoing projects and new expenses. Right now, ongoing, we still have the 74 Main Street construction project, as well as the well number 4 replacement, which is required by DEQ. Upcoming projects and expenses, I think we need to be on the lookout for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades and repairs, and we'll also talk about that. As well as we have a Route 360 corridor beautification project, which we haven't officially announced yet, but we received a $150,000 grant to beautify 360 coming into town. So we'll have large landscaped, beds and trees planted in the medians to dress things up. So those are upcoming, and we'll extrapolate further on that once that's officially released. Core objectives for continued strength. We need to continue to pursue funding opportunities for future projects. Continue to build capital reserves. As we know now, everything costs 100% more than it used to. So very important. Work with department heads to understand their budgets and so they can monitor their spending, and continue to pursue aggressive economic development strategies to attract new businesses and new income. Our budget process, we have a capital improvement plan, which serves as an outline for large-scale capital expenditures. Department heads submit requests and answer questions regarding these expenses. Again, this serves as a plan. No expenditures are guaranteed, but it helps us to provide a future path going forward. Then the main thing, we have our general operating budget. That runs from July 1 to June 30th. The budget must be balanced. It needs to include contributions to capital reserves. There are two funds, the general fund and enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are water and sewer, and then the general fund is everything else. Council works through the budget and holds a public hearing, and again is allowed to adopt the budget 14 days subsequent to said hearing. All right, this budget at a glance. The town has found that due to inflationary pressures and other costs, the need to invest in our wastewater treatment facility, as well as the DEQ required well replacement, the following fee schedule changes will need to take place. And I want to preface this with, I know in our work session, it was an $8 increase per month for water and sewer combined, so $4 each. And I know you all tasked me to try to cut that, and so I'm very pleased to say we've cut that from $8 to $6, so we cut $2 off of that. We made some budget cuts, and we have really good news. Our Public Works Department got a quote in tentatively that the well replacement will be a little under $1 million instead of $1.5 million with another company.
Way to go, Jesse.
Yeah. So that's huge for us, so the debt service can go down. And then we also made some line item cuts, so we're able to lower that increase.
And he bird dogged that himself, right?
Yeah, They sort of sniffed out that trail and found that. We'll still issue an RFP. You never know, might get some lower bids, but I think this is probably the company we'll go with. And I hope for us to act on that probably in the next few months. So the water fee for residential will go from $21 to $24 a month. For commercial, to go from 36 to 42. Wastewater residential will go from 40 to 43. And then wastewater commercial will go from 58 to 63. Also the small change to try to take the $2 increase off was the minimum allowable gallons from 4,500 a month to 4,000, which if you think about it, and this is the thought process behind it, those that would probably be hurt the most, senior citizens that are living alone, they don't really ever get near that. So it's, I think, a more equitable platform for us to try to increase revenue without increasing monthly expenses.
That's really good. I think it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All tax rates sort of remain the same. So for the general fund, which is our budget, economic development, parks and rec, all those things, we're not proposing any tax increases. The following capital improvement items or repairs are being proposed. A water pump for $35,000, UV bulbs for $135,150, a replacement vehicle for Public Works for $60,000, and then I need to put there. It's on another page. The police department a $65,000 allocation for a vehicle, and then council chamber upgrades for $23,000. Total combined annual debt service payments will account for $296,509 in FY26, which is a decrease of nearly $100,000 from the previous fiscal year budget. And that's just due to the debt service reduction that we've talked about for years from the wastewater treatment plant. This budget reflects a 2 to 3% cost of living adjustment for all town employees. Again, if you make 50,000 or higher, it's a 2% increase. If you make below 50,000, it's a 3% increase. It also reflects the rising insurance costs. Those have been factored in. This is always one of my favorite parts, so I like to put this into comparison. So we're doing the budget comparison by locality. So I've done my best, and some of our admin office folks have delved into this. We call neighboring localities or go on their website. Warsaw has the next to lowest. This is with, let me preface also, we have some of the lowest rates for residential with the increases factored in. So this $67 factored in the increases that are being proposed already. Some of these localities, I don't know what those proposed rates are. They do not have them on their website yet. So if you can see, if that's small, sorry about that. Combined residential water and sewer for Warsaw is $67 per month. Kilmarnock is $70. Tappahannock $64.24. Colonial Beach $101.67, and Bowling Green $73.04. So we're the next to lowest combined for water and sewer for residential, which I know is like one of the big things. Mills tax, every locality is now at 6%, except for Kilmarnock at 5%. Transient occupancy tax, which is the hotel tax, we're all at 6%, except Kilmarnock's at 8%, and Bowling Green's at 5%. Cigarette tax, we're all at 40 cents because we're part of the Chesapeake Bay Cigarette Tax Authority, except for Kilmarnock. They choose to do their own thing. Real estate, we're at 13 cents. We did decrease from 16 to 13. And it would be 10 cents. Remember, the 3 cents that's on there was to fund the Bounds project. That was earmarked specifically for that. So we would be at 10, but the 3 is for the Bounds. So we're at 13 per 100 of assessed value. Kilmarnock's at 7, Tappahannock at 9, Colonial Beach at 80. And that is because they have to fund their school system. And Bowling Green at 13 as well. Personal property, we increased a little from last year to this year, but it's remaining the same for this proposed budget at 80 cents per 100. Kilmarnock's at 16, Tappahannock's at $1.25, Colonial Beach is at $3.20, and Bowling Green is at 72 cents per 100 of assessed value for your vehicle, motorcycle, boat, etc. Any questions thus far? Again, our rates in here are proposed. So some of these localities will increase, most probably will increase. So monthly water residential, $24. Bowling Green, $26.53. Tappahannock, $19.72. And Kilmarnock at $17. Monthly sewer residential, Warsaw's at $43, which is the lowest. Kilmarnock at $53. Tappahannock, $44.52. Bowling Green at $46.51. And again, Colonial Beach just started this new thing where they just sort of bundle it all together. For residential trash, we're the lowest at $15 per month for 2 pickups a week. And commercial trash is $45 a month if you have no dumpster, and $75 if you do have a dumpster. And that's equitable because the dumpsters are what tear the trucks up. So that's why that's a higher charge. And you can see other localities. Tappahannock charges $90 per dumpster. Bowling Green charges $173 for a 6-yard and $115 for a 4-yard dumpster, which are the 2 sizes we also have. Monthly water and sewer for commercial, we are a little on the high end right now. Again, these localities have not put in their proposed monies, so I'm not sure if we are or not. But our total combined rate is $105 for hour 2. Kilmarnock's at $110. I don't know why I highlighted both of those in red. Sorry about that. The sewer I shouldn't have highlighted in red. My apologies. Tappahannock is at $64.24. Colonial Beach at $101.67, and Bowling Green at $8.28. So we still are sort of in the middle, especially these 3 localities here. Back to our budget, for general fund budget trends, you can see where it sort of goes up and down. Again, these are monies that don't include wastewater and water. So this is really the mills tax, those sorts of things. Our fluctuations largely deal with grant monies that we receive, or ARPA. So right here, ARPA funds were prevalent, or we received a big grant those sorts of things. But you could sort of see a trend line of we're around a $3 million annual budget for the general fund.
And grants really drive that.
Yeah, our budget's so small, and when we're lucky enough to get $1 million grant, it just makes everything look wonky. So on future slides I have coming up, it sort of takes the grants out so you can get a little bit better picture. General fund revenue trends by source. As you can see, mills tax that's the lion's share of how we operate. In FY 2022, we collected $484,000. Right now, we're anticipating $668,000, and that is due to the council's efforts of, I think, investing in our local small businesses, getting more restaurants like Espresso to come in or Excellent Eats, and that's why that's organically gone up so much, which has helped to mitigate tax increases. Business licenses after last year where we amended our fee schedule so that we were more in line with Tappahannock and Kilmarnock. Those funds have increased quite a bit, which also helps to not have tax increases. Real estate stayed pretty much the same, roughly 260, 280 for the last 4 or 5 years, somewhere in that boat. Personal property continues to climb. So the reason real estate is sort of the same across the board, the apartment buildings really only add that one, it's not multiple units. Whereas personal property, that one unit will have maybe 2 cars. So personal property has gone up more in line with our population increases.
Joseph, can I ask you, you said our meals tax is 6%. Is that, was that in last year's budget too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long has it been 6?
This is the second year.
Second year.
Is it second? Yeah.
Maybe the third, second or third.
So, and that's a good point. Yeah, it switched, it went up 1 year, but our organic growth just outside of the increase has still been pretty strong.
Right.
I think in the next budget, we budget $675 annually. Pie chart that just sort of hones in a little bit more on mills tax is 32% of our revenue source. The next large one, solid waste fees, which that one is really almost a goes in, comes out. The trucks are expensive, staffing's expensive, so that's sort of just a pass through to a certain degree. Sales tax has really increased. I mean, I remember when I came here, it was almost really negligible 8.5 years ago, and more people are shopping in town, and it has really gone up a lot. Then, you can see it sort of drops off after that. Real estate is a small amount, and on from there. And sorry, this screen's small, so it's sort of hard for me to see. Budget breakdown. Hey there. Oh, you're fine. All right, budget breakdown by department. So the admin department is $817,710. That also includes some of our grants. It includes economic development. A lot of stuff is sort of bundled in the admin line item. And so that constitutes 26.45% of the budget. The police department is 664,136, or 21.4%. Public service, which is trash to keeping up parks and all sorts of things, is 20.67% of the budget. Contributions are to the library, fire department, that's 2.1%. Our debt service is only 4.4% of our operating budget, which is really low.
That's really good.
Yeah. Capital outlays, non-ARPA, we don't have any for this year. And then for grants, we're estimating $771,000, or 24.93%. That's where it just really throws the budget off quite a bit. So total operating budget for general fund is $3,091,435.
So 1/4 of our budget is grant driven.
Yeah, and it usually always is pretty high up there. Yeah,
That's something to talk about. That's a
Yep.
good thing.
That's actually the lowest it's been in a long time.
Work harder.
We're gonna have to find more grants. Yeah. Enterprise funds, water and wastewater. This year, water outpaces wastewater, but that's only because of the capital expense of the well replacement. So instead of 1.5 million, we were able to drop that to $1 million, which has been really helpful. Their normal operating budget is $458,092. This is proposed, and they have a debt service of $37,000, which we think is on the well that has to be replaced. So we're like, wow, this is crazy. DQ, I don't understand. Wastewater, operating budget, 627,996. Capital expenses on their end, 230,150, and we'll delve into that later, for a total of $966,888. Any questions? All right. All right, so FY '25 versus '26. So admin, there's an increase of 11.35%. Police, and this includes their vehicle in there, so that's why it throws that off a little bit. An increase of 26.25%, but again, it's 65,000 is for debt service for a vehicle. Public service, 6.9% decrease. That's largely due, the previous year they had, I think we were like, bought a trash truck or something to do with one of the trash trucks. Water, a 2.8% decrease, and wastewater, a 15.02% increase, and that's because of some of their capital expenses. So total budgets for every department, including general fund and enterprise funds, it's an increase of 7.1%, or 322,960. Our cash reserves remain really strong. The rule of thumb is you need to have at least 20% of your annual operating budget set aside for reserves. Smaller towns always think you need to have at least like half, just in case an emergency happens. You never know. Right now, our undesignated and designated cash reserves are at $3,132,617, which is higher than a lot of counties and stuff in our area. So I think I'm really proud that we have that. Or that's around 68.87% of our operating budget that excludes grants. Our capital assets, which are structures, the actual treatment plant or town hall, those assets are at $14,183,242. Capital improvement plan, so we already talked about it a little bit. Here's where the vehicle is. So $65,000 for just one Durango. Unfortunately, USDA, I just don't think that we're going to get a grant for the other one, but we're still going to keep trying. $60,000 for wastewater vehicle upgrade to get an F-250. $23,000 for council chamber upgrades. $35,000 for they need a non-potable water pump, and then $135,150 for UV bulbs at the treatment plant, and then the $1 million for the well replacement, which will be we'll probably issue a bond for financing for that, and we've already factored in the debt service, the annualized debt service for that. So the total capital improvements across town will be $1,318,150. And just for financing, again, the Durango will be financed. The F-250 is financed. We'll actually be trading in one of the older Ford Explorer police vehicles to help on the truck. We don't need to finance the council chambers, or none of the rest will be financed except for the well replacement.
Can I ask maybe a dumb question, but
Sure.
why do we need a F-250 for wastewater treatment?
To
150 or 1,500, and I guess we're going forward, so I don't know, I just wanted to know.
Yeah, so the one going out of circulation is an F-250, and they have to haul like the jetter because I know like the nursing home is notorious for that line clogs up a lot. So they have to pull the jetter, the trailers, the mini excavator,
Okay.
those sorts of things.
That
Yeah.
answers my question.
So really-
I wasn't realizing that vehicle was used to pull the excavator, because I know you need a heavier truck for that.
Well, actually, I think the new truck is it going to go to wastewater or water?
I think they're going to kind of talk amongst
Yeah,
themselves.
I think the water
Decide
department
who-
will actually get the truck, and then they'll hand down one of their trucks. Just wastewater always has more funding coming in, so it's easier to pay for things out of their pot of money. Moving forward, we just did this part, so good job on us. The next one is the public hearing, which we have on here, that I'll need y'all to set that public hearing date for May, and then we can adopt in June, which will keep us in compliance with state code. And with that, do y'all have any questions?
Council, what do you think? I'm glad to see the 8 go to 6.
Yeah.
And I understand the gallons change a little bit, but I mean, I've got a pretty active household going from 2 to 5 just at any particular time of the month, and we rarely go over the minimum.
We don't have many folks that hit the 4,500 mark. That's very, very rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we, I won't say happy, are we content with what we have? Yeah?
Well, I just like to make a statement, considering, you know, we all know each year, I mean, ever since got into the working world, every year, things go up, prices go up. Hopefully the salaries go up a little, and I know it's a struggle each year trying to fit everything in, and I know you all work diligently to make it work the best you could, and you know, we're going to expect increases, and very more than likely be an increase next year, but I certainly think everything that has been done is within a reasonable amount, and hopefully all of our townspeople will understand that this has to happen in order for us to keep operating.
Any other comments? Joseph, I would like for you to please make this available, you know, advertise it on Facebook with a link so the public can get to it and they can see it.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website.
It's a nice looking presentation you did too.
Oh, thank you.
Your pictures and the graphics.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So where will this be available?
Will be available on our website. It'll also be available on Facebook, the same link, right? You just go to that link, print it, or open it, and you'll be able to look at it, print it, whatever you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought we set the public hearing. We didn't do that last time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Did we? Yeah.
Council, is there any other discussion? This is the time for us to talk, because next meeting, we're gonna be approving. All right. Then I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing for next Thursday, May 8th at 6 PM at our regular town meeting.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Those opposed, or excuse me, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. All right. All right. Well done. Well done. Appreciate it.
Thank you. very much.
Council, since this is a special meeting, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you all for allowing us to do this, and I'm going to close it up so we can stay compliant.